So that's a philosophy. That's a big, vague idea of what it's all about. What is it practically? What are we actually offering? What are we actually going to have people get together and do? So there are two things we offer. One is a sexuality integration program, which you're part of right now, because the first step are these webinars. And our hope is that these webinars will inspire people to join our 3-month online sexuality course. And that's a chance to create small mixed gender groups of less than 10 people or less. They're going to meet twice a month for a couple hours and really dig into this stuff. It's a way to dip your toe in, get a feel for what all this is about.
And it's exactly how this whole program got started.
Yes.
Is with all of us having these conversations with people that we shared the shadow work certification, but we didn't know each other very well. And out of those conversations, which we're now inviting you to join in and be a part of, has come this whole new way of approaching sexuality.
And then those who are wanting to go beyond that 3-month experience can then join this 9-month sexuality transformation journey. And this is sort of our flagship program. This is the one that's got everything. So we continue those conversations online, and then there's a chance to do one-on-one coaching with Bridget and I, either in person or online.
One of us at a time.
Yes, one of us at a time.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of the program is an advanced sexual shadow transformation weekend in Boulder, Colorado. So you can get together with these folks that you've been getting to know over months and all gather together and do a deep piece of work around your sexuality. And then once you've had that experience, then you continue the conversations to talk about integrating that and bringing that into your life and moving forward. And the second thing we offer are just sort of an a la carte thing. If you don't want to be part of a long, extended program, you can just come to Eros.Work Weekend, which are 4-day weekends that are happening in Asheville and Edmonton, Alberta. And get together with the group you don't know as well, but then form that bond over the course of the weekend, and everybody gets a chance to do, again, a shadow work process around your sexuality.
And we did the first one just exactly like that, with people who didn't know each other very well, coming together with all 6 of us as facilitators. We did one last spring in Edmonton, and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. The shifts that people had were really profound.
It was really beautiful to see the group come together. It was incredibly fulfilling to be part of that.
Okay, so the impact, each of us is going to talk a little bit about the impact it's had on us personally, because we sort of want to show you a little bit of what's happened for us. I was raised in a religious community, a Christian religious community, and had very little contact with people outside of that world. And in that world, sexuality was really repressed. So I grew up with all my sexuality just really repressed. I was afraid to dance when I was in high school. I mean, just to even move my body like that seemed somehow sinful. So in midlife, my dad and my 2 favorite mentors, all 3 of these men, all kind of died tragically and early. And as I saw why they died, I thought it had a lot to do with the fact that they had not been able to account for their sexuality. So I made a decision that I was going to try and set my life up so they didn't happen to me. I just looked into whatever I was looking into, hoping that I could find out something better than what they had experienced. And I'm monogamous now and have been for over 15 years or something. But a lot of what I learned has to do with needing a place that's safe enough for me to be able to talk about my most vulnerable stuff, which is my sexual stuff. And when I got into this group and we got together and we started talking, boy, things just started opening up. It was so nice to hear, oh, you think that too? Oh, you've got that one too? Oh, great. And just a lot of support came to me. A lot of understanding came to me. It was just really fun. Also, there's a lot of new information out about sexuality, human sexuality, that's just fascinating. So it was just an eye-opener. And I think it's important to have that, even if, for me, even if I'm in a monogamous relationship, to kind of have someone else to talk to, or some other place to learn about it too, because that just keeps it way fresher. in my relationship, keeps the spark there better. And so it's had a huge impact on me, opened a lot of doors.
Thank you, Cliff. Natalie?
Yeah, my journey began with exploring sex when I was really young, and when I think about what my desire was at a really young age, I realized that I was looking for love. I was yearning to be loved, and the way that I saw to fill that void that I thought I had was by having sex. And so that went on for a number of years, and then I met my partner, who's now my husband. We've been together for 20 years, and we got married and have a very loving relationship. We have 3 boys, and there's a lot of love there. So my love hole is full. It's like constantly being nourished by all of these beings in my life. And so what's happened over the years, being in a monogamous relationship with this man, is that my desire to have sex has just been kind of gradually dwindling. And there's this part of me that just doesn't really accept the status quo. It's just not really good enough for me to accept the fact that, yeah, if you have kids, you're going to have sex less, or once you hit 40, you're going to have sex less, or whatever kind of BS statements our society wants us to believe about sex. I just don't buy it. And so I've been like searching and fiercely, on this quest to find out, okay, how can I continue to augment the spark rather than watch it just decline over the years, and just anything I can possibly get my hands on in order to find out what's going on inside of me. Where are my blocks? How can I shift through whatever kind of resistances are inside of me? And doing this kind of work has really opened quite a few doors for me. Having the kinds of conversations that we have here in our circle has helped me. It's just been a really good mirror for me. I've been able to look at myself really honestly and say, that's an area that needs a little bit of work. I'm a work in progress. And I've been loving all parts of this journey. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Natalie. Bridget?
So I identify as queer or bisexual, and I was extremely adventurous in my 20s. And I came away somehow with this idea that I could not be, this kind of wild, adventurous, sexy person and have a long-term, loving, committed relationship, that they were, really mutually exclusive. And now I'm married. Yeah. It's good. And we have an open relationship. It has a BDSM component. So certainly it's not necessarily your standard loving, committed relationship, but it is a loving and committed relationship. And yet I still struggle. I really struggle with my decision to be in an open relationship. I struggle with feeling like I'm worthwhile, like I'm worthy of being chosen, of being married. And when Cliff invited me to be a part of these discussion circles, I was really excited because it was an opportunity for me to be in a space where I could be really raw and open and authentic and express what was really going on, all of my frustration and everything, in a space where I could be held and supported and where I wasn't going to hurt him, because we were in separate groups. And this was a huge gift for me, to be able to just be really raw, and not worry that what I was going to say was going to touch on his wounds, which, we've only been married a few months, but we've known each other 30 years. I know where his wounds are. And I don't want to be touching on them. So to be able to talk about this stuff in this raw way was a huge gift. And it has allowed us to be a lot more frank with each other, and to do a lot more really fun stuff in our relationship. It's had a huge positive impact. And again, I look forward to the opportunity to share some of that with you.
Thanks, Bridget. Heidi?
If I could choose a couple of words that summed up my beginning with sexuality, it would probably be intense curiosity and paralyzing fear. I always had this sort of Pandora's box relationship with sexuality. I grew up in a place where you don't talk about it, you don't touch, you don't look. And some of the core wounds that I uncovered in myself through the shadow work was this really deep subconscious messaging that I've been carrying that says, I'm doing it wrong, I'm bad, or I'm not good enough. And these messages overlaid so perfectly over my sexuality. And I realized I've been carrying these messages, and they've been a filter through which my sexuality was taking place. And to throw it into the pot, I had some family members who were in this kind of complete denial of the existence of sexual energy, whose lives were being really torn apart as a result of this. And so for me, it's always been this push-pull relationship. Like, I'm being told this doesn't exist, and yet I'm feeling these immense currents of power from this energy. And having had this intuition this whole time that there was something really significant, something really sacred about sexuality. But then carrying all of this confusion, like this thing inside me that is afraid I'm doing it wrong has taken me to so many places, you know. I'm too horny. I'm not horny enough. I'm too masculine. I'm too feminine. My sexual energy is leaking. And there's just no end of ways that you can pick yourself apart and criticize yourself, especially in this realm where we don't often have the luxury of just putting all our cards on the table and looking through them in a clear way. So when I joined the Eros.Work group, it was amazing to have the ability to do that, to just put down all my cards, all my fears, all my experiences, and be shocked that I wasn't such a freak, that these people not only understood, but many of you in our group said, yeah, I've had that too, or this is why it's happening. And so I've seen through the different sexual brains, through the different archetypes that we work with, how really what I was doing this whole time was transitioning through these different pieces of me. And each one of them was like this new part of myself that I got to uncover and integrate. And so it's led to this real sense of sexual fullness. You know, seeing sexuality go from a very one-dimensional place, like, yeah, sexuality means either I'm thinking about sex or having sex, right? To, whoa, this is actually a multi-dimensional thing, like being able to witness in my conscious mind the way that I use my sexuality in work, how sexuality shows up in friendships, and, you know, how I can show up in so many different ways in sexual encounters. So there's a real sense of healing and fullness that's personally come for me, and I really want to share that with as many people as I can.